All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is awesome to be here. I'm excited for another week of Gaming Tonic. My name is Just Vince, and I am joined here by.
Devin Kronk, how's it going, boys? Welcome in.
Welcome,
How's it
welcome.
been, bro?
Dude, it has been incredible. It has been a great week, honestly.
Busy week.
Very busy
Very
week.
exciting. Electric, if you will.
Yes, most definitely. So, what have you been up to this week? What's been going on in the world of Devin Kronk? What have you been doing on stream? Games you've been playing? Tell me all of it.
Oh man, okay. Well, it's been a busy week. I've been playing a lot of I'm still trying to beat Pogo Stuck. Been playing that on stream.
What percent?
I think we're at like 70 now. Maybe.
70%? Oh, bro, let's
But
go.
and the end sections are tough, bro. It's gonna be a struggle.
I believe it. I believe it.
But yeah, I mean, that's been a big one on stream. I did the Amazon stream on Friday. That was super fun. Basically just people send me links and I buy whatever they send me after we vote on it. Fun experience. Probably put a video up. Check it out.
What
And
is the
then
best thing that you got from your Amazon stream? And explain the Amazon stream, by the way, just for anyone who isn't familiar with it already.
so it's every time I do an Amazon stream, I have the viewers send me links, and then we'll click a link, we'll look at the item. And I set $100 budget, by the way, and then chat will vote yes or no. If they vote yes, I have no choice and I buy it. If they vote no, we skip it, and I'm just stuck with whatever I get after we spend $100.
Nice.
Um, the best thing I probably got, I would have to say, is I believe Shoria sent me this like Naruto wall scroll, and it's pretty sick because I have this big empty wall
What?
behind me.
Yeah.
For any viewers, like back there, there's an empty wall, and yeah,
That
no, that we're
haunts
gonna
you
fill
and
through
prevents you
space.
from keeping your camera angled a little bit higher, basically. The empty wall does.
No, no, the camera would still be angled lower, but maybe I'll be able to move my seat a certain way now without feeling self-conscious about it. See that? Oh man.
There is a big empty space back there. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a
But
Naruto
yeah,
fan?
I am. I'm a huge Naruto fan.
Got you. I've never seen an episode of the show.
Probably one of my favorite animes. I don't care how mainstream it is. I love it.
All right, I'll have to give it a watch at some point. Right on. So, what else you been up to this week?
Valorant, of course,
Yes.
with you and others. It's been a good time. I never thought I would play that game again.
Same, honestly. The last time I played it was such a rough experience that I was like, I can't imagine wanting to download this game a second time. But sure enough, here we are.
Yeah, dude.
2021. It's a new year, you know?
I've been having so much fun with it though. Like, I don't know. I think it's just the typical playing with friends, having a good time vibe that it gives me. I would still
Yeah.
never play it by myself, but a full stack, maybe 2 or 3 buddies, like that's fun. It's
Yeah,
been a good time.
absolutely.
How about you, man? How's your week been? What you've been up to?
Oh, dude, you know what? Like, I just have to shout something out real quick. 68 Series in the chat just said, I know y'all not reading comments, but nerds, you're a nerd.
Hey, come on. Yeah, you're a nerd, dude.
We're
What the
not
hell?
typically reading comments during the podcast, but you're a nerd, okay? Just so you know. All right,
We always
had to
read
read that
comments.
one. Had to let him have it. Can't just let that go unanswered. All right, but this week's been awesome for me, dude. Started playing Valorant with you guys again. I mentioned on the last episode that I played League of Legends for the first time like 2 weeks ago. I have been getting back into Smite, like because of that. Because just like playing games of a similar type to a game that I love makes me want to go back and play that game that I love. Whenever I get
Yeah.
really invested in like a MMORPG, it always makes me want to go back and play more World of Warcraft. Same deal, you know? So I tried a little bit of
Right.
League of Legends and I was like, man, you know what this makes me want to do? It makes me want to play Smite. And I started playing Smite again, and people have been liking the Smite content. I mean, when the World Championships are happening right now, I made a couple of TikTok videos and they got quite a few views. I made a tweet doing some analysis of a clip that happened during a game, and one of the pro players, and the pro player that the clip was about, actually retweeted my tweet, and it blew up and got over like 2,000 views or something like that. And like, I mean, it's been a crazy week for me, man. I hit 500 followers this
That's
week,
awesome.
which is a huge milestone
Congrats.
for me. Yeah,
Yes, dude.
yeah,
500 followers.
yeah. A lot of excitement for that. I've been kind of like, toying with that 500 number for the last like year or so, as I've like started and stopped streaming again, and like as I've really been like pressed into it for the last like few months outside of getting Corona and all that happening. It's good to finally be across that threshold. So
Yeah, that's
a lot of
awesome,
exciting
dude.
stuff.
Follower count's really cool. It's I say like it's not the most important number when it comes to like analytics and stuff, but it really is like a good sign of like consistency and really just kind of gauging how many people come by and like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really cool. Yeah,
And I mean, I know that it's like personally, I don't consider follower count like a great metric. Like I don't think
yeah,
it's the most important by any means. I wouldn't even say that
I
your
agree.
follower count is important. But for me, like the way I see it is like I'm a pretty goal oriented person. Like the only way that I get things done is I set a goal for myself and then I meet that goal. Like that is how I plan my whole day. Like every single day when I get up, like any planning that I do for something I have to get done, I'm like, here's my goal for today, and then I do it, and that's it. And then the rest of the day is just
Mhm.
up in the wind. But if I don't do that with important things, then
Yeah, yeah,
it will
totally.
never get done. It will never get done.
Yeah, and that's why follower count's cool. It gives you that like that reference to go off of, you know. Now, what's your next goal? 1,000?
Um,
750?
my next goal is to make some improvements to my stream. I think more than just a
Just
number. I mean, there's
throwing the follower count out. Let's
yeah, yeah. I mean,
hell yeah.
five
Okay.
hundred was something that I was so close to that I wanted to achieve that, and then like kind of move on from there. But I
Yeah.
think right now my goal is like first of all to get a better camera, and then
Mhm.
start working on some different like screen transitions and like new overlays. Potentially might be something that I look into. But the main thing that I want to do is like I see a lot of people with like where they like pan to a full screen camera, when like something happens, so people can see their facial reaction better. I want to get something like that set up. I feel like that's kind of a cool and
I
interesting thing. I saw you get that like just this
yeah,
last week, actually.
I was gonna say I looked over at my hotkey for the button I have, and I was about to press it, and then I realized we're on Discord and it
Yeah,
wouldn't work. So
unfortunate, dude. Unfortunate.
yeah, no, those are awesome. The reaction cam.
Yeah, yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. Right now, I just get really close to my camera, so I just lean my head all the way in, and like that's good enough. But it is what it
My
is.
camera is like posted up behind my monitors, and I would have to just stand up to get that going. I have a pretty good zoom in going here, but
Yeah, yeah, you got to get pretty close.
yeah, dude.
Well, all right, man, that's awesome. It sounds like we both had a pretty crazy good week. I mean,
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
so far, I mean, 2021 has been a banger of a year for me, man. I don't know how things are looking for
Yeah.
you, but this is this is shaping up to be one of the better ones. That's for sure.
It's been a good start, content wise and IRL wise for sure. There's a lot of big things happening this year. I'm very excited.
Absolutely.
And thanks to everyone, listeners, live viewers, everyone, wherever you are. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for giving us the support that you do.
Seriously.
All
Yeah.
right, and that's as far as the mushiness will go for me for now. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We appreciate you guys. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
all
we
the
do. We
support.
really do.
Seriously. Seriously. You guys are the reason why we do this. Hopefully you enjoy the content and it's going to keep coming. So whether you like it or not, it's here. All right. So we're getting into our news segment now. There's been actually quite a bit of news this last week. Usually like just after Christmas, there's a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a slowdown after the holidays, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we got quite a bit of stuff coming up and I'm a little bit excited for it. I'm going to let you take the first one because you care about this way more than I do. So
Yes.
have at it, man.
The first news item on our agenda is Monster Hunter Rise's demo. It came out on January 7th and it featured two training missions. One about that new feature, the wyvern riding,
Hmm.
which is pretty awesome. Um, I haven't played the demo yet, so I'm not 100% sure how all that works, but I'm looking forward to playing it. And then in addition to that, they added two hunts where you can experiment with any of the weapons in the game, and it looks incredible. The armor, they added some of the new armor sets they're showing off, some new weapons they're showing off. Well, not new weapons, but new like new monster hunt crafted weapons.
Gotcha.
There's going to
Okay.
be a lot of cool updated content in this game, and you can ride dogs. That you have a dog
What?
companion instead of a feline companion for the dog lovers out there. They
Huh.
got you this time.
I like dogs, so I mean, like it's not going to make me buy the game anymore because Monster Hunter isn't my game. But I mean, that's
Yeah,
cool that you can ride a dog.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks like it helps with the whole mobility, getting around the map. Your dog can like climb up the vine walls and stuff.
Nice.
Help you assist you in combat, stuff like that. Yeah, it looks like it's I've seen a few people play it now. Shoria, my buddy
Hmm.
Boo. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty sweet game for you Monster Hunter lovers out there. Or if you've never tried Monster Hunter, it looks like it could be a nice place to pick it up if you're interested.
Yeah, and if you've never tried it, the demo is available now, so you can figure out if that's your type of game or
Exactly.
not. Have you tried the demo yet?
I haven't. I downloaded it yesterday, and I'm probably gonna play it tomorrow because this weekend's supposed to be pretty busy for me. But I'm excited.
Nice.
I want to
Well, and
ASAP.
and Sunday is editing day, but it is the off day. So if you're gonna have free time, it's probably gonna be then.
Today's gonna be my editing day. I'm gonna
Oh,
work
really?
tonight. I schedule for Sunday. Like I get my videos done before Sunday, and then I try to make
Oh.
Sunday like a free day.
Hmm.
So I'm behind right now.
You got this, man. We believe in you.
Yeah,
All right, so the next one is I'm gonna take this one because I'm actually kind of excited about this. Do you play board
go
games?
for it.
I mean, do you play them with
Honestly,
your family? Monopoly, chess, checkers, anything?
I'm a fan of board games, but I don't get around to playing them too often.
Me neither. Not nowadays. I used to play them a lot with
Yeah,
my family, and I kind of miss it. But like when we have company over or anything like that, like me and my wife, and we'll hang out with people and play some board games every now and then, depending on
right.
who's coming over. But Slay the Spire is getting a board game. Have you played Slay the Spire?
Cool. I love that game.
This game is awesome. I mean, this
Played in
was
beta.
I would say before Hades, Slay the Spire was probably the first like renaissance that roguelike games really had. In the fact that it like made it a card game, you know?
Yeah, it was awesome. I
Yeah.
haven't played that game in so long. Like I would love to this kind of when we went over notes, I was kind of thinking in my head how much I wanted to get back into Slay the Spire.
Yeah, well, now you might have a chance in a new way. So they're doing it on Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter is supposed to start being funded this spring, I believe. So it's still a ways out, and they're gonna have to meet their Kickstarter goals and everything like that. But I mean, I look at how much popularity Slay the Spire gained so quickly. They are not gonna have
Mhm.
any trouble smashing this Kickstarter goal. Honestly,
Nah.
they're not gonna have any trouble at all. I mean,
I agree. I don't think it'll take much effort at all. I feel like this community has a really strong backing to it.
yeah. So it's basically going to be a co-op tabletop board game, and we don't have many other details than that at this point. But I mean, the developers for this game knocked the game Slay the Spire out of the park. Every update that they added while it was in early access was incredible. All the different characters and how differently they play and how varied each run is excellent. I mean, I have so much love for this franchise, and if the future of this franchise is in board games, sign me up. I'll buy
Let's
the board
go.
games. Yeah, I say I'll
Me too,
probably be
man.
backing this one on Kickstarter just because it seems like something to be fun to play with friends.
I even playing it or not, I feel like just having a Slay the Spire board game just up on your shelf, like that's a flex. That sounds like a cool thing to own. It's like the people that buy, like Star Wars Monopoly, but don't actually play Monopoly.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Get,
Just let
it
it sit up
kind of
there
like
on the
gives me,
shelf.
yeah, it gives me that kind of vibe. But I think it would actually make a wonderful board game. So there's that too.
Definitely. All right, so the next piece of news. Epic Games bought a 980,000 square foot shopping mall to convert into new headquarters. 980,000 square foot shopping mall.
Bro, I can't even move out of my mom's house. Can I move in, Epic, please?
Can you
You
imagine?
gotta
Can you
you got an
imagine
office
being in the
space for
neighborhood,
me?
dude? Like being in that
Yeah.
neighborhood and your shopping mall is now Epic Games? What the heck? Like what are
All
those
the
people
kids,
supposed to do? You
they're
know?
so stoked. All these Fortnite kids, they're like, dude, I'm gonna go buy a pickaxe at the shopping mall next weekend. Like 980,000 feet. That's insane. Like, I'm
I'm,
not the
I'm
biggest
googling how big is 980,000 square feet.
yeah, we
Um,
got a few
hmm,
football fields, right? Maybe like two or three.
I'm looking up like some
Well,
conversions right
square
now.
footage is interesting because it's like volume, but yeah, no, that's absurd. I don't know why they would. From what I read in the article, the mall was abandoned and they,
22.4 acres.
oh,
So
that's crazy.
not insignificant. I say I don't have any buildings to compare it to. I tried to look it up. Every time I googled like notable buildings that are 980,000 square feet, nothing came up. Like it was just a bunch of people
Yeah,
trying
it's
to sell me houses. I was like, okay, guys, stop. Clearly, I'm not in the market for a house that big. But
980,000 acre house.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, they bought a shopping mall and that's their headquarters now. And if you needed any more proof that Fortnite is still alive and kicking and perfectly fine and not going to struggle anytime soon, there it is. You know. Like
Oh, they're
they're
set, man.
rolling in money. I mean, I mentioned this on my stream last night because of the topic of Paragon and the fact that Epic
Oh,
Games took Paragon out into the back shed and put it down. Um,
Yeah, dude.
Epic Games realistically could take an entire segment of their new shopping mall and dedicate that segment of their office to just burning piles of money, and they probably still wouldn't be able to burn the money fast enough with how fast they're making it from Fortnite. Honestly.
Yeah, so and
It's
you know
so it's so much money.
what are you gonna do with 980,000? I can't get over that. Like, do they have that many employees, you think? Are
I
they
have
gonna give each employee their own shopping station and walk over to David's desk and he's just got his own freaking room sitting like that's crazy to me. I worked at a mall, so like I'm just kind of like imagining my like store like being an office space and it's
yeah,
just
being
so
a
weird.
Fortnite office. Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica said, for reference, a football field is 1.32 acres. And we said that was 22.4 acres. That's crazy. So
That's
you're
yeah.
you're looking at roughly, what, like 15 to 17 football fields, doing my quick maths in my head. I think
Yeah,
it's
something
somewhere
like
around there.
that.
That's a lot of
Your
football
your your
fields.
quick maths are probably better than mine, so we'll just say you're right here.
Say I'm about to say that was a real just like off the cuff guess. So we'll see. But Epic Games, y'all are raking in the money. Fortnite is wildly successful, and it's because at the end of the day it works well and it's accessible for everybody, and it runs on potatoes and it runs on consoles, and it's arguably fun. Like I wouldn't play it, but people are having fun with it. So cool.
Did you ever have a time where you were into Fortnite? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
was there a moment that passed where you were like, "I like this game. I want to play it more. I want to be good"?
Strangely enough, it was right after PUBG like really blew up. Fortnite came out, and it
Yeah.
was back when the like tower defense style Fortnite game that you actually had to pay for, Fortnite Save the World, was more popular than the Battle Royale mode that they had in the game.
Yeah.
And before it blew up, and excuse me, I'm gonna have a hipster moment here, okay? But like probably like 2.5 to like 3 weeks before it blew up, I played Fortnite and I was like, this is actually a good game. Like it was before people knew how to build and everything like that, so it was actually fun to
Yeah.
play. But like I was playing it and it felt so smooth and it worked well and the guns felt good to use and like the shooting mechanics were pretty solid. And I liked the way the loot system worked and I liked that I could build, but I mainly did it for defense, not for like movement and how people like try to get hide on each other and edit their buildings super quick and stuff like that. Like nobody was playing that big brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Crazy
it
now.
was just a core battle royale game and people built sometimes, to like get height advantages, like to like go up on top of a platform or something like that, get on
Better
top of a house,
position.
that sort of thing. Better
Yeah.
positioning, yeah. Yeah. And like I was like, man, this is actually kind of a cool game. And then it blew up and got all the popularity that it did, and then everybody was sweating super hard and building super fast, and I was like, I'm done. Yeah. I say
Yeah, I feel that.
I can build or I can shoot. I can't do both. One or the other.
Give me one, please.
I'm either Minecraft or I'm PUBG. There's no in between. I can't
I
do
like
both.
that.
Fortnite is not my game. Yeah. I'm too boomer for
Yeah.
that, I guess.
I kind of feel it though. For me, it was almost the other way around. I remember seeing the Save the World thing on people's streams and being like, "Oh, that's kind of fun," but I wouldn't play it.
Mhm.
And then Battle Royale came out and it blew up, and I was like, I'm never touching that because of how popular it is. Because that's how I am. I'm like, I everyone likes it. I can't like it. Like, so I didn't touch it for a long time, and then I finally did, and I got hooked on it for a while. Fun fact: I played Fortnite for like a year.
Yeah. It's been
I'm ashamed of it
interesting.
on it.
It's been interesting to see how the game's evolved though. Because
Yeah.
like at that point when I was playing it, really nobody was building a lot. But now we're at this
Even when I
point.
was playing, it was like very I think it was kind of when people started getting more into that. It was like kind of like Ninjas Come Up era
Mhm.
was when I was playing and it wasn't too gnarly. It was some people would be really good and then you'd still get those people kind of like you said that weren't really building. But and I think that was like the heyday of Fortnite for me. Like if it was still like that, I'd probably still pick it up every once in a while.
I
But
think the heyday of Fortnite was double pump. Don't at me.
or
Honestly, double pump shotgun in Fortnite was the most fun that game ever was to watch and play. Personal opinion, but I love shotguns in games like that, so I'm a little partial here.
I just want to rocket ride with the homies.
But discussing how the game has evolved kind of leads us into our topic for this week that many of you can see at the top if you're watching live. We do have our meta in gaming title up there at the top. We got the new overlay thanks to Devin here. And this
Sweet.
segues us into our topic for this week. And we're going to be talking about, yeah, meta in gaming. And I mean, Fortnite
Heck
is one of
yeah.
those games that has had many metas over the course of the game's existence. I mean, we talked a little bit about double pump. We talked about like all of the building and how that's evolved and how it evolved from just building and like deleting things to building and now editing and then re-editing. After you shoot through something that you just built, like, and it's crazy. I mean, all the new weapons they add into the game. Do they have vehicles in the game right now? I feel like they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hop into like a Maserati and it's playing Post Malone and like YG now. It's
What the
pretty
heck? Are you
lit, dude.
serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
That's kind of crazy, actually.
It's pretty absurd. Yeah, they have some music rights. You get into that thing and you can switch radio stations and it's just like all that, because they get sponsored or whatever by like Travis Scott and
Yeah.
all those other artists. So you hop into the whip and they're just playing all their tunes. It's pretty funny. I watch my brothers play it sometimes, so I'm kind of up to date on the updates.
Yeah. I mean, and I look at that and it's like you spend the money to make the money. I think that's a big part of why
Yeah,
Fortnite has continued to be so successful, honestly, is because you look at something like having Travis Scott in your game, having Post Malone's music in your game, or YG, or an actual Maserati, the Avengers crossovers, Master Chief being in the game, The Walking Dead,
oh
Daryl
yeah.
Dixon. I mean, these are not small names.
Well, they're appealing to so many different franchises that people love. Even when they released Master Chief, I considered playing Fortnite for a day. I was like, man, that's really cool. I wanna get a Master Chief skin in Fortnite. Like that's rad.
The thing that got me was Blood Gulch in the game. Like,
Yeah, that
that's
was cool.
yeah, that hits me right in the nostalgia. I genuinely think that they were trying to like draw back in some of the older audience with the inclusion of Master Chief. No lie. I think
It,
that was the play there.
and it's so smart. Like you have to give it to them. They're like they're really their marketing is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So, meta in gaming. As long as there has been competitive games, competition in games, there's been a meta, There's been a
Yeah,
best way to win. There's been like a routine, I want to say, like a specific route that you can go down. You follow these set of rules and you're probably going to do better than the other person because of the state of balance that the game is in.
right.
Like it's always been like that. I mean, people want to win games when they're playing competitive games. Even if it's games that you're playing casually for fun, if there's any sort of competition involved, it feels better to win than to lose, no matter what. I don't care how good of a
True.
sport you are. I don't care how much you're enjoying the game, okay? Like, I am loving Smite right now. I'm enjoying Smite right now. It feels so much worse to lose than to win. So much worse every single time,
Always.
you know? And like I can
I'm
appreciate getting outplayed, but even when I get
Yeah,
outplayed, that feels way worse than outplaying somebody. So typically you want to do better, you know?
of course. I'm about as casual gets, and even I don't like to lose. So
Yeah. So, like, as a more casual gamer, as you're getting back into Valorant and stuff like that, do you care at all about the current Valorant meta when you're picking characters? Do you look at your team comp and go, okay, we need this?
um in Valorant specifically, I would say like sometimes if I don't see like a Sage or maybe even like a Sky now, I guess because she can heal. I like heals. I think at like a low elo, a nice little top off is nice. That's about it for me. I mean, if I try to use the guns that I think are meta, like the Phantom and the Vandal or whatnot, but if I'm really feeling like playing what I want to play, I'm gonna play what I want to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even a little deeper than just using the Phantom or the Vandal. I mean, the general idea was, to my knowledge at least, that on offense you want to use the Vandal because if you're swinging a corner, you can get a one-tap headshot, and being able to
Right.
push with a one-tap headshot from a farther range away is a big deal when you're attacking. Because usually when
Yeah.
you're pushing in, you'll be pushing into multiple people holding one angle looking at you. And then on defense, you want to use the Phantom because typically people are going to be closer to you. The Phantom has a faster fire rate. So you'll be more likely to get off 2 shots on your opponent before the Vandal gets off 2 shots. So sometimes
Vince
you'll
taught
win
me
trades
that.
because of that.
Vince
Yeah.
taught me that last weekend, boys.
And
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, of course, dude. And I look at things like that and it's like, this is how deeply people are breaking down these games now. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look
And,
back in the days of GoldenEye, no, people didn't. I don't think people broke it down that deeply, but they probably had an idea of which characters were clearly overpowered, and they stuck to
right.
those. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I feel like with GoldenEye, it was like, oh, maybe like the speedrunners, they're like the meta is to clip through this wall and
Mm-hmm.
then go left. But yeah, no, totally. Before video games got as like complex as they are now, I think it definitely was just a matter of like, okay, this guy's faster and I need speed. This guy hits harder and I need to hit harder. Like I feel like in games like Valorant nowadays, the meta can consist of so many different things all at once. And then like it can even shift depending on what your opponent does. Like, okay, they picked this character. That means I need to play this way. Like it's so in depth. I could talk about meta for a long time, man.
Yeah. And it's interesting because not only is it based on the enemy composition versus your composition, it's also the skill level that you're at. I
Yeah.
mean, speaking to Valorant specifically, we look at a character like Reyna. Reyna, who I don't think sees as much play at a very high level, like the highest of the high levels, talking about like Radiant rank and stuff like that. But Reyna in like gold rank and below, and in unrated games, like Reyna is the casual pub stomp character. For those of you who aren't familiar
Mhm.
with Valorant, if you're playing Reyna and you kill one person, you can drain the life from that person, and it gives you all of your health back, plus an overshield to make up for the armor that you lost. So basically, you go back to having as much health and armor as you possibly could every time that you kill somebody, and that's crazy. In casual games, like getting one kill means that you can just continuously go on a string of kills and stay at full health every time you push into somebody new. I mean,
I just unlocked Arena um last I think like 2 days ago, and I've never played her before. And I like to think I have a pretty good iron level game sense and aim.
mhm.
And I was demolishing some people with Arena. Like she's pretty nasty, that whole overheal thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like pretty
Yeah,
much
it really
if you get a kill in the pistol round before everybody has guns, if one of your teammates even gets a kill, because you can drain off of your teammates' kills too, can't you? Or does it have to be
I
yours?
think it's only your kill.
Only yours? Okay, that's good. But
Yeah.
if you get one kill yourself, I mean, you now have more health and armor than anybody in the lobby because nobody buys heavy shields round one. Nobody.
Yeah, it's
You know?
true.
And if you keep getting kills, odds are one of your teammates has hit someone else at least once. So they have probably less than half of your health bar right now. That's a crazy advantage for pub stomping?
That was definitely the where I felt the strongest was the pistol round. And
Yeah.
that's new to me because I suck at pistol rounds. So it was really nice. It was a nice change of pace.
Yeah. And I
Thank you,
mean,
Meta.
thank you so much, Meta. Thank you, Game Balance. Um,
Yeah.
and when you play games, I mean, is your goal typically, I mean, in a game where you can win or lose, is your goal typically to win, even as a casual player?
Yeah. I wouldn't so being casual, I wouldn't say I'm not like full troll. I'm not
Mhm.
going in like intending on losing. I go in intending on having fun. So whether I'm having fun winning or having fun losing, I just want to have fun. I of course I'd like to win. I'm always going to like make an effort to win, but I'm not going to like sacrifice my happiness,
Yeah.
my stress levels to win a game. I don't know. Like I feel like that's contradictory sometimes. If that's your thing then like more power to you, but not me.
And I mean, speaking specifically to MOBA games, typically on top of there being a meta for like which characters you're picking and what your team composition is based on the game mode that you're playing, there's also a meta for what items you should be building and what works on your character and what doesn't. So, like yesterday in one of my games, we had a person playing a warrior, which is typically supposed to be a brawler character, is supposed to be a frontline, tanky, does a little bit of damage, but mostly just helps the team. He's an
Yeah,
initiator. He starts the fight. He wants to lead your team in and keep the fight going on, keep aggressing on their backline, that sort of thing, apply pressure. And it
gotcha.
was an enemy warrior, sorry, not the one on my team. And he built not a single defensive item and really bad offensive items for his character. So he was playing the least effective version of his character that he could possibly be playing.
Was
And
he working an angle though? Like,
no,
was he trying to break meta, or was
it
he
was
just like,
it it was very bad. It was very
okay,
bad. It was not working
okay,
on any level. And I look at something like that and I'm like, to an extent, as much as I am a heavy advocate for just have fun, when you're playing a game with other people, I feel like you should be, at least a little bit accountable for making sure that you're not ruining other people's games actively with how you're playing. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, absolutely.
Like, because I think that ruins a lot of enjoyment for a lot of people if you're going out of your way to do a bad job. And
And that's what I mean by like I'm not gonna like throw a game for anybody. Like I'm going to I'm going to do what I can do as a player to the best of my ability and still have fun, but like I'm not gonna not gonna I'm not gonna lose sleep at night because you want to win one
Yeah,
competitive game, you know?
absolutely. And I mean, the way I see it is, and this has always been my comparison for people who are like, "Oh, it's just a casual game. Who cares? Just let it go." You know, like just because it's not a ranked game doesn't mean I don't want to win still. You know, like
Yeah, definitely.
I play tic tac toe with my friends. I'm not playing tic tac toe competitively. It doesn't mean that I'm purposefully going out of my way to lose at tic tac toe.
But you want to win.
That's what I'm saying. You want to win,
Yeah,
even in something as
exactly.
casual as that. You know, even when you're playing Monopoly with your family, there's nothing on the line. There's nothing really at stake there, but you still want to win. You know, you're not
Yeah.
just going to sell your properties for $1 to every single person just because, oh, hey, who cares? You know, just the game.
Well, if the game goes too long, I might do that
Yeah,
with
no kidding.
Monopoly
Let's
and
say too much
get me
Monopoly.
out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that will rot your brain if you're on that game for too long. It gets
Oh
crazy.
man.
So,
But
go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
Nah, you're up. You're up. I got a
Good.
cough anyway.
All right. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like with a game like Valorant, it's just so inherently competitive. Like, as a casual player, I find it hard to be casual. Like, even in underrated, I'm like, okay, this is game time here. Like, it has that atmosphere to it. You know, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's because every opponent you encounter is just like profusely sweating, but it's something about that game just makes it feel really like it matters, you know?
Well, it's
I don't know.
hard. It's a challenging
It is
game.
hard. Yeah.
I think that that is what makes it feel like it matters so much is because it's a difficult game to play, you know? And pretty much unless you've been playing Counter-Strike for a long time before you played Valorant, Valorant is a hard game.
Right.
That's what I would say. Because there's a lot of people who come over from Counter-Strike and they're like, this game is so much easier and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, because you've been playing all the different versions of Counter-Strike for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, it's easy to you, you know. But for people who haven't played this kind of a competitive shooter before, where your accuracy matters this much, you're like stopping your movement before you shoot, crouching sometimes when you shoot, so that you can get a little bit less recoil, making sure that you're good with your crosshair placement, making sure that you're good with your recoil control, all these things, you know. And the recoil control is hard, you know.
Positioning with curved barrel.
Yeah, no kidding, absolutely.
On
And
I've on that topic, I feel like I've been getting more used to that. The whole I'm finding myself compensating for the curved barrel quite often now. I'm pat myself on the back for that one.
nice, that's excellent. And I mean, another thing that like impacts a lot of what people do inside of these games is what influencers and streamers are doing. And I think that's been
Yeah.
kind of interesting to see. The Smite World Championships are going on right now, and I'm going to be talking about Smite a lot just because I've been playing Smite a lot. So that's like my point of reference at this point.
Hey, it's our podcast, man. Let's talk on what's relevant to us.
Yeah, no kidding. And at the World Championships, Barracuda, who, I mean, one of the most popular Smite esports pros, I would say, he plays ADC, and he's been in the league since it started, I think. Like even the first World Championship that they had, I'm pretty sure Barracuda was there. If not, it was like second or third that he came in. But it was really early on in Smite's life cycles. The Barracuda was a part of that, and he played Apollo, and I believe he 3-0'd the team that he went against. They let him get Apollo 3 games in a row, and he absolutely destroyed his lane and popped off the whole game. And it was crazy. And because of that, like we get into, you know, our casual lobbies and people are picking Apollo. Like
Yeah.
a whole bunch of games now because they saw a pro player do it.
Yeah,
And
they really do have a huge effect on the scene. I have a here, continue your story. I'll finish after.
well, no, and I mean, it's interesting to see because they see success from another person and they're like, ah, okay, so they're successful here. That means I can be successful here with this. And that's not
Yeah.
always the same.
Well, there's that skill gap that we talked about where like just because one of the best players in the world can play it that way doesn't mean you can, unfortunately. Maybe with some hard work and dedication, you might get there one day, but
Yeah.
probably not there yet. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. An example I can relate to is like this one's even more comical to me because it'll be like I don't know how familiar you are with any of like the Smash YouTubers, but like
Hmm.
I watch some videos from Zero every once in a while where he'll just totally clickbait the video and be like 10 reasons why Bayonetta is the best character in Smash, and then you just only see Bayonetta's for like a week after that. It's just like
Yeah.
I feel like they like know what they're doing, and they know that they're gonna like shift things that way. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I
And
like it though. I don't know. You know what to expect, I guess.
and to be clear, for anybody who is familiar with the Smash scene and their drama, we don't condone any of the sexual misconduct that Zero got up to. Just to be clear, I don't know if
Oh,
you
I
heard
didn't
about
hear
all
about
that, but
that.
yeah, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that went on between him and like some like underage girls and stuff like that, and that's not, we don't condone that in any way. So
Hell no.
yeah,
Zero,
just to
you're.
be clear about that.
I
But
never said that name, dude. I didn't know about that.
yeah, dude,
Yikes.
like, I mean, sidebar here, but about, gosh, like 6 months to a year ago, there was just this string of like a whole bunch of people in the Smash community getting like exposed for all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes,
I
and it was
remember that.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Is this the whole thing that we just talked about? Is that like a fresh thing? Like,
No, no, it was, that might have been the last thing to come out of it, but yeah, yeah, he had his
yeah.
partnership terminated with Facebook Gaming and all that stuff. Yeah, like it was bad. It was real bad.
As he
So
should.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Whatever.
But I mean, like streamers being able to do things and having such an audience that they do. I mean, you look at people like League of Legends professional players, Smite professional players, Overwatch players. You know, when people started getting really good with Genji on Overwatch, there started being a Genji in every single game. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how much Overwatch you played, but when Seagull started popping off on the Genji, I mean, there was Genji players in every single game,
I
and they
had a
were oftentimes
friend.
really bad, really bad.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a buddy who was an avid Seagull viewer, and this man went hard on the Genji. I think he got to like man, he played in some tournaments at one point. My buddy, he's OG Cyrus in the chat. If you ever see him, he's cracked at Genji.
Yeah.
Tell him you're better than him at Genji. Well, anyways, yeah, the whole reason he even got into Genji was because of Seagull, and he got really far with Genji. He was actually pretty impressive. It was cool,
Yeah.
but he was motivated by an influencer. So
Well, and it's incredible to watch good Genji, you know? Like my
yeah,
Overwatch DPS tier list for back when like Seagull was really playing Overwatch a lot would have been good Genji players, S tier, okay? Like hit scan players, A tier. Your support or your tanks, B tier. Your healers, C tier. Bad Genji players, D tier. Okay, like, and that's how it lines up, you know, because like Genji players, they hit this threshold where it finally clicks and comes together, and then they just kill everybody, you know. Like they'll pop off on a really good ultimate, and they'll like get multi kills on different people and keep on dashing through and stay mobile, and they'll hit their shurikens well and stuff like that. But your bad Genji players, okay, they'll jump up into the air, go into their ultimate, and get one tap by a Widowmaker because they weren't paying attention to the lane. Or they'll just get immediately slapped by a Reinhardt hammer because they weren't paying attention to their positioning or get stunned or whatever else, and they'll just die over and over again, and they'll never get a damage medal in their life, you know?
yeah.
And
So
that is,
he's either really meta or just
yeah,
dog.
yeah, exactly. And I think that that is the epitome of like Genji as a character, like at his height, at the height of Overwatch, is the epitome of just because you see an influencer do it doesn't mean you can do it. Just because the
True.
meta exists at a high level doesn't mean that it works at your elo. You know? There are different metas for different levels of gameplay. Speaking to Overwatch specifically, console had a completely different meta when it launched on console. They actually had
Yeah.
to nerf Torbjorn on console Overwatch because having a robot that would shoot and aim for you that did that much damage was too overpowered. They
I
nerfed
remember
Torbjorn's
that,
robot
dude.
because the fact that it would immediately track people was too overpowered on consoles. So Torbjorn
When
was a strong part of the meta for a little bit on console.
I was really into Overwatch, I had I played on PC, but I had a few buddies that would play on console, and I remember we would like talk about the game, and I wasn't aware that they updated the PC and console versions differently until my buddy came up to me and he was like, "Man, have you had to deal with any Torbjorns online?" And I was like, "What?"
And you were just
He's like,
like, yeah,
"Man,
we
I
just shoot
hate
their
that."
turret and then he's useless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, "I hate that character, dude. His turret's always killing me." I'm like, "Buddy, you gotta. I'm so sorry."
Yeah. But it's harder to, especially because I don't think that if it has aim assist, I'm not sure that it would have worked on the turret because it was a deployable object and not a player. So
Yeah,
when like console players are going to snap to it, like I feel like they might have a harder time than like being able to do it with a keyboard and mouse. But I mean, there are obviously some really insane console players that do really well, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are some people who are really good on the controller, but the metas change based on what game you're playing. The Smite console meta, I mean, when it first launched on consoles, the meta for Smite was you play a character that has big AoE every time. That's it. You know? Because you don't have to be
Mhm.
nearly as accurate. You're not trying to play characters that have skill shots. You're trying to play characters that have big AoE that can affect a lot of people in an area, because that way you just won't have to aim as closely. On PC, you see a lot more people playing like the really tight mechanical characters that if you're very precise with your skill shots, you get rewarded heavily for. But on
Yeah.
console, as much as those characters are still good on console, you know, like their stats, their abilities, mathematically, they should be effective on console, but it's just harder to be that precise without a keyboard and mouse.
So with Smite, do they update the game differently?
No,
Console and PC?
I
Okay.
believe
So
the updates might be a couple of days later, but it stays the same across the board.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because in Overwatch, they, like, completely, like, changed it, like, it was completely different on console, wasn't it? Well, maybe not completely, but there was a lot of,
changes like
bigger
Torbjorn.
changes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's cool, though. Yeah, and completely I feel like that's kind of a trend with console games that are also on PC that are competitive like that. It's like seems to be the easier, more consistently, like, effective strategy is the console meta, whereas, like, the high risk, high reward is more of, like, a PC meta.
yeah. And it's kind of interesting because, like, speaking about Call of Duty specifically, they've kind of forced people into a controller meta because they don't let you use keyboard and mouse in tournaments
Really?
for
I didn't
Call of
know
Duty.
that.
Like the official Call of Duty League, they play on PCs, but they use controllers. Yeah,
That's kinda raw, dude. I like that. Like,
yeah. I
that's
think that
that's straight up MLG right there.
it is, and I actually
Yeah.
like that. You know, like
Yeah, it's
I
very
was
cool.
I was talking to a guy that our friend Peace and Love, who also streams, awesome dude. He hosted him, I think, the other day. And he was playing some Call of Duty, and he's actually a pro Call of Duty player. Or like semi pro. I'm not sure exactly like what
Peace?
like no, not Peace. One of his friends that he
Oh,
hosted.
oh.
He told me to go follow him, and like I was watching his stream for a little bit, and it was really interesting, like talking to him because he was like, "Yeah, I'm playing on controller right now because we have to play on controller for tournaments and stuff like that." So I don't know if he's like how high up he is in the rankings or anything like that, but he plays in tournaments. That's all I know. Um, and he was talking about like the comparison between mouse and keyboard and like controller because he has played on both, but he was practicing with controller just to like keep his skill up, I guess. And he was
Yeah.
like, "You can definitely snap to people easier on mouse and keyboard. That's true." But I think that like the way aim assist and everything like that works, like there are certain things about like if you're already peeking a lane like the correct direction, aim assist helps you a lot more than it does on PC. And like
Uh-huh.
recoil control, I think gets a little bit easier with a controller than it does with a keyboard and mouse. So I don't know how
That's so
significant that is
interesting.
in Call of Duty because Call of Duty already doesn't have that bad of recoil, but yeah,
Yeah. I had no idea they did that. That's actually really cool. I would like to see that more in, like, games that are cross-platform like that. I think that's, like, not a really bad idea. Like, putting everybody on the same, either keyboard or mouse or a controller, and everybody in that tournament does that. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
That's like requiring athletes to have a certain type of gear to wear, like safety regulated helmets in football or whatever. That's kinda like what I see it as.
And I mean, speaking specifically to like keyboard and mouse versus controller, Rocket League. I feel
Yeah.
like that's a game where controller is actually better, and I don't
I
think there's anything stopping people from using keyboard and mouse, but most of the people I know play on controller.
right. Something I can relate to is Smash. I know a lot of
Mm,
people give the Joy-Cons the hate, but, like, I was on the Joy-Cons for a while, and I was doing alright, I think.
yeah.
Um, and then you have, your Pro Controller, which is the Joy-Con, but controller, and then the N64 controller would
Well, GameCube.
get, or yeah, GameCube. God, I'm N64. Imagine, dude.
The three handles. Oh man,
Yeah,
perfect. You might not like
yeah,
it, but this is what peak efficiency looks like
the
playing
GameCube. Yeah,
Smash
the
on an
GameCube
N64.
controller was that's a lot of people's bread and butter though. The GameCube, like,
Yeah.
but I don't think I could ever switch over.
Yeah, GameCube remote has stayed a part of the Super Smash Brothers meta for a really long time. Really long time.
That's interesting. We're talking like hardware meta now. I
Yeah.
didn't expect it to go this direction.
Well, but I mean that is gaming, you know?
It
I mean,
is, yeah,
we've
it's
reached a
really
point
cool.
where gaming is this competitive where people are looking for anything that they can to get a competitive edge.
Yeah,
And that's it. That's the name of the game nowadays, you know? People are getting people used to buy Turtle Beaches because they thought that it gave them better audio, and Turtle Beaches aren't even that good. So, like, you know, it's perception versus reality first of all, you know, because
yeah,
if people sponsor something, and again, that the Turtle Beach like fad kind of came from a lot of like big names getting sponsored by Turtle Beach to be like, "Oh, hey, check out this headset. It's awesome," you know?
yeah,
And a lot of what people understand as the meta is based on what big names in the industry tell them, you know?
it's true.
It's kind of an interesting timeline that we live in.
Hardware and software. Those influencers, man. They're called influencers for a reason.
Yeah,
They
no
be
kidding.
influencing.
Absolutely. So, do you think the meta existing is hurtful to gaming as a whole?
um, I wouldn't say hurtful. I think that it can stifle some creativity or like unique play styles that could potentially shine really bright, but the meta's the meta for a reason. If that's the meta, then that's what's gonna more than likely be the best thing that's been tested by people that play this game very seriously. Like I I don't think it's bad. I think it's I wouldn't say necessary, but very found like it's a foundation to some competitive games. I think there would be a really big skill gap if social media didn't exist and nobody knew
Definitely.
about metas. I
Yeah.
think there would be a lot more people running around with their like chickens with their heads off,
Yeah.
not
For
knowing what
sure.
to do. Because I know in a lot of games I play, if I'm really into it, I'll run a Google search. I'll see what some of these top players are doing myself. Like what let me check out how you play this game so that when I go in, I'm not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of other people do that, and that helps a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't say harmful, but I think it definitely has a huge impact on maybe like newer players getting into a game.
And I mean, what you mentioned about being able to just Google search stuff when you're not sure about something. When I played League of Legends for the first time in 10 years, like a couple of weeks ago, um, I wasn't sure what to build on my character. My buddy was like, "Here, just look at this website." And you go to the website, and there's a list of like all the things to build in certain scenarios based on what team comp your enemy's playing, based on what your team is playing, based on like what character you're playing and what role, all that stuff. You
League
know?
has some crazy
Yeah.
websites for like builds and metas and stuff, like OPGG and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I was using was OPGG.
I think that's the best one right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if the meta in gaming didn't exist, we wouldn't have these kind of resources available to us. But at the same time, if
Yeah,
the meta didn't exist, we might not need them at the
it's
elo that
true.
we play at. You know, so it's kind of a double edged sword. But at the same time, I don't think that a meta existing in games is hurtful to gaming because I think that a meta existing is inevitable. There will always be people who are
Yeah,
popular playing the best things that they can play because they want to have a competitive edge over people at their skill level. You know, like to a
right.
certain extent, the skill gap gets so small that you have to take every advantage that you can get to try to inch yourself ahead of somebody else. You know, and
Yeah,
but at the same time, I think that the meta in gaming can be hurtful. Looking specifically at a game like World of Warcraft, which we've talked about this before, but when a streamer or a popular streamer or a popular YouTuber or something like that says this class is bad, or they tweet about it, or they make a TikTok about it or a clip about it or whatever, and they're saying this class is bad, it's terrible, never bring these in your groups or whatever. Like the content that they're doing is the highest of the high level content, okay? So to give you an idea, there's a system called Mythic Plus in World of Warcraft where these dungeons that you can do, you get a keystone, you're on a timer, the monsters get affixes, so like sometimes they'll summon a volcano that just erupts around you and you have to dodge like the volcano or whatever. Or
right.
like sometimes like the mobs, when one dies, it'll bolster the health of all of the mobs around it, so they get more health. That sort of thing,
Mhm.
So they're basically timed dungeons, and they scale in difficulty with how high of one you can complete. So if you complete a +2 key, it gives you a +3, 4, or 5 key, depending on how fast you do it. You know, and right now people are going up to I think 22 is the highest I've heard of people doing, but the people that are doing +22 keys, they're like, okay, don't bring this class, because they're not nearly as good as the other classes right now. They're playing at the highest level of mythic keystones that they can play in World of Warcraft. But you're a person who's out here doing heroic dungeons or normal mythic dungeons, okay? Very easy content. It's like, oh, this person said that that's bad, so we don't bring them.
Yeah.
You know, even though they're doing content that is leagues behind the content that that streamer was talking about, because their perception of the meta is that that class is bad. Even though that person might be a better player and better geared than anyone else that they could have picked up, they wouldn't bring them just because it's not the flavor of the month. I
Yeah,
think that when people look at the perception of the meta as it stands at an incredibly high level of gameplay and try to adapt that to their low level of gameplay, I think that the meta is hurtful to gaming.
I agree with you. In that scenario, 100% harmful. Um, just don't do that. That's so like so rude. People
Seriously.
just want to have fun with their game. Like, what's the bad class right now? That well, I guess that might be contributing to the problem, huh? Maybe we
Let's see,
should talk
maybe
about that.
maybe this is one that I'm like personally hurt on, but it's Frost Mage, and Frost Mage is
Oh,
like one of
okay.
my favorites. You know, I love Frost Mage as a class, and it's
Okay,
really
well,
bad right now. Really bad.
if I was running around as a frost mage and I just wanted to get my gear game up, I would be really down bad if somebody kicked me out of their group or didn't allow me in their group just because I wanted to throw some ice balls like that.
Exactly.
That's so whack, man.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Frost has not been balanced since the launch of the expansion. It's just the meters get updated every single week with like where classes are at, and this week Frost is
Yeah.
on the very bottom. It's real bad. They
Oh.
actually just gave it a buff. I think yesterday they gave it a 9% damage buff to just all of
Nice.
its abilities. It was that bad. They gave
Yeah,
everything Frost Mage does a 9% buff. It was that
that's
bad.
absurd.
You know?
Weren't they not that bad in BFA? I think I
Um,
had a frost mage in
they
BFA.
were
Or
not
was it
bad.
Legion?
They were not that bad, but it was worse than fire. And right now it's still worse than
Okay.
fire. So, you know, but like I never had any trouble getting into groups or anything like that because like the perception of Frost Mage early on this expansion was that it was going to be really good. But
Mhm.
then all these numbers are coming out and you see it every week getting lower and lower in the rankings, you know, until it's finally at the bottom. And thank God it got buffed because now people will invite you again. But I mean, it sucks seeing something like that happen because people look at it and they're like, oh, we don't want to bring this person because they're worse. And the
Yeah,
rankings
that's
are based on simulations of people's gear and how they perform in the raid, like for like mythic raid content and stuff like that. So Frostmage was performing the lowest for that
mhm.
content. And mythic raid content is the hardest content in the game outside of pushing absurdly high mythic plus skis. Okay? That is the most difficult content in World of Warcraft that you can get to. Is mythic raid content, you know? And people are like, "Oh, we're not going to bring Frostmage to our normal raid, and normal raids are easy." You know? Like normal raid
Yeah.
exists for you to be able to just, you know, clear it and see it and get some, you know, fun, easy gear, have a good time with your guild, have some like content for you to accomplish and just have a good time. You know? Like that is the purpose of it, is for it to be casual but still let you experience, you know, the big dungeon with the big bad boss at the end.
Right.
And people still let their perception of the meta and how it exists permeate, you know, a player's ability to have fun. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah. That idea right there, I think, is what kind of bleeds into to other games too. Like not even just WoW.
Yeah.
Like I used to be pretty into League of Legends in like obligatory I'm a young guy talk here, but
Yeah.
when I was in middle school like 2 years ago,
Hmm. Yeah, of course.
I I uh I played a lot of League and I feel like even then I'd play like a normal game, not even ranked, and I would pick a character and maybe not build the item that is typically rushed on that character. And I mean it is League and that game's extremely toxic, but I would get lit up sometimes for just building the wrong item first. Like intentionally, like I know like okay, I'm supposed to build this first, but what if I try this? Like we're playing unrated, it doesn't matter. Like let me have fun with my game, man. Why you gotta berate me because I because I want to build an ohm wrecker before my phantom blade or whatever the hell it's called on.
Yeah, no kidding. And I
But
mean,
yeah, I get you.
and I think as much as like a meta existing can be toxic to gameplay, I don't think it will ever be nearly as toxic as the players themselves. You know? I think
Yeah.
that a lot of the issue that like having a meta in a game brings to a game is brought on by the players themselves. The players who look at themselves like, "Oh, I'm, you know, I'm one of the elite players, so therefore everybody has to try as hard as I do." And that's not true. You know?
Nah.
I agree that your objective should be to win. As somebody who plays with a competitive spirit, you know, like I would rather
Right.
win. I would rather have teammates who want to win. But just because somebody isn't doing something that is widely accepted as the best thing to do doesn't mean they don't want to win and doesn't mean they won't play to win. If you
Yeah,
take a
totally.
character who is built just a little bit improperly, you know, like, because you're talking about building one item before the other. I mean, if,
Yeah, I mean that
you
was
know,
just an example, but like it's you go wrong anyway in that game, you're gonna get heated.
yeah,
I Yeah, no, I definitely think there's like a way to go about it. And you know, who knows? Maybe I was the guy who came into league and didn't know what I was doing. And I'm playing unrated to practice and learn. And you're just leaning into me for no reason. How about being like, hey man, I saw you built this first, but this would actually be like a lot better. You should try it. Like instead of being like WTF, GTFO, you know?
yeah, no kidding. Yeah. And I think that toxicity, you know, and like your general attitude while you're playing a game is one of the biggest factors in how well you do. Like while the
Yeah.
game is happening. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if people aren't getting toxic with each other, if people aren't like, you know, like just gaslighting each other the entire time, like having a positive attitude on your team goes a long ways. When I was playing, we were doing some like tournaments and stuff like that, playing Smite on Xbox back in the day. And early on, like one of my favorite things about me from my teammates, one thing that they would say all the time that they loved about having me on the team was like I was pretty good about keeping stuff positive. Like the more that I
Yeah.
played the game, like the more that I got competitive with it, honestly, the saltier I got, and that was kind of sad. But like really early on, one of my favorite things that they loved is that like even when stuff was going really bad, I was always like, "All right, guys, let's do this. We can do this. You know, just get smart, play right. You know, don't make mistakes. Just wait for them to slip up. Play patient. We got this, guys. You know, and like
I
just
like
keep it
that.
positive the whole time. You know, just always stay in that mindset of it's okay. Setbacks happen, struggles happen. This isn't something that we can't come back from. We've seen people come back from worse. We know we can do this. You know, and I
Yeah.
feel like if more people had attitudes like that about these team games, even competitive games, you know, because everybody wants to win. You aren't the only person out there that wants to win, bro. I
It's
say,
true.
salty
Yeah.
guy, you aren't the only person on your team who wants to win this game. Even if you're the best player on your team, you aren't the only one who has a desire to win and is willing to do things to win. You know?
That's right.
So like, if more people had that mentality of, hey, you know, something went wrong, let it go. Let it go, move on, and be better. That's it. You
Yeah.
ain't got to berate people. You ain't got to be toxic. Just let the events unfold how they will and do your best. You know, make sure
Hell
you're
yeah.
doing what you can. That's it.
I'm gonna name this when I post this podcast. I'm gonna name the episode "Positivity is the New Meta."
That's a title right there. That's a good
Yeah,
title.
dude.
Yeah,
Spread
absolutely.
it around, everyone. All the listeners, everybody. Positivity is the new meta.
You love to see it, dude. Man, that's good. Let's say clip that and tweet it later.
I'll put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, no kidding. So speaking to you personally, do you follow the meta or do you go against it when you play games?
um, if I on it, like I typically follow meta because one, I am so casual that I just don't even want to think about other things I can do that could compete with the meta. So
Hmm.
like I just follow it in that way. Like, okay, I know this is what people are doing, so I'll just do that because it seems to work for everyone else.
Yeah.
If that's fun to me, of course, you know. But I'd say generally I follow it just because makes my life easier.
Yeah. And I think that there are certain games where like the if that's fun to me part comes into play a lot more for me than others. Speaking of
Yeah,
like Hearthstone specifically, that's a game where it's you versus one other person. If I'm playing something off meta in Hearthstone because I enjoy it and I think it's a fun Hearthstone deck, for those of you who aren't familiar with Hearthstone, it's a digital trading card game. Think like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon trading card game. What Elder Scrolls Legends would have been another one. I'm trying to think of like other big
yeah.
like trading card games like that. But
Gwent.
Gwent, yes, of course. Um, it's just me against one other person. If I do bad, it doesn't impact anybody else. I can mess around as much as I want on Hearthstone. But at the same time, when it's time to climb ladder, you know, when it's time to get my ranks up, I'm gonna play the sweaty deck. You know, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna be out here trying to have fun and have a good time unless I've already achieved the rank that I wanted. But I think that like in scenarios like that where the decisions that you make to play the meta or not play the meta don't impact anyone else, it's an easy choice for me if like today I just want to go in there and have fun, you know?
right. Like I think there's a comfort in going off meta when you're playing a game like Hearthstone where
Hmm.
you don't have somebody um just assaulting you verbally in a chat. Like
No kidding.
you can kind of just like do your own thing and nobody knows but your opponent. And if you beat that guy, he might go tell his friends, you know, "Oh, I just got beat by this dude playing only one mana minions or something." Like
Yeah,
it, I think there's a big difference between the like team based meta and like solo competitive meta.
yeah,
Um, yeah, Hearthstone is that's a great game, man, to break meta with.
it
That's
really
that's
is.
like the game I think. Like if you're feeling a wild streak
Is
and
is
you like card games.
as much as I don't like Hearthstone's monetization and how expensive it is, like of a barrier for
Yeah.
entry. I mean, you're talking about like $200 roughly every 4 months, like $200 to $300 every 4 months to get all the cards that you need to build viable decks. That's way too expensive, and I think it's ridiculous,
Why
especially compared
stop?
to something like Legends of Runeterra, where you can get the entire card set for free just for playing for a
Yeah.
few weeks. Um, but one thing that Blizzard knocks out of the park is they always incorporate a certain amount of fun into each card set, and I think they do a really good job of that. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that because, and it's fun that is powerful, but never, there will be overpowered cards here and there that kind of define each meta, but it's fun in a way that is powerful enough that, assuming you get lucky enough, you can still be competitive in most games, even against people
Yeah.
playing sweaty decks. You know?
Do you remember Grim Patron decks, the
Yes,
warrior one?
yes, yes. That was
That was
not fun.
that was probably my first like really salty experience with the meta where I was
Yeah.
like, dude, why can we just like not do this anymore?
To give you an
I hated
idea,
that.
for people who are not familiar, Zavis just said, "Hey, everyone, get in here." Yeah, um,
Everyone.
yeah. Anytime that you dealt damage to this card and it did not die, it summoned another of that card. So it was a 3 attack, 3 health minion, and every time it took damage, it summoned another one
And
at full
keep in
health.
mind that the warrior has so many cards that can damage its own minions without killing them. Like
Yeah,
it had 3 health, I think.
yeah. 3 health,
And that might have
three health, 3 attack.
didn't it get nerfed at one point to where like it had more health, I think, didn't it? Or was it
3 health, 3 attack. The nerf that happened.
the nerf got rid of Grim Patron, right?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
just the expulsion. Okay.
yeah. Pretty much.
Never mind then.
But yeah, Warrior, like off the top of my head, I can think of like 5 cards, like just real quick, that Warrior had to activate this. And one of those cards dealt 1 damage to every minion on the board. So if you have 3
Yeah.
Grim Patrons at 3 health, or like 2 health even, it summons 3 more Grim Patrons. It was ridiculous. It was one of the
And
worst periods of the Hearthstone meta.
if you tried to counter it with like flooding the board with your own minions, he
Yeah,
could just he could, he could just brawl and like
yeah,
you would just have your Grim Patron back, and it would if
yeah,
as long as it wasn't the Grim Patron with 1 health, you were a-okay.
yep,
And they would run those buff cards with they'd buff the Grim Patron's health and it was yeah, it was not fun.
yeah. It
You
was
play
ridiculous.
Hearthstone and you never got to experience that. Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, for me personally, whether I follow the meta or go against it kind of varies based on what game I'm playing and what game mode. Since I've been playing Smite this last week, like I've been playing characters that I just like to play. I don't have
Yeah.
like a very deep understanding of the meta in Smite right now. I know that there's characters who are clearly overpowered, but I don't usually like to play characters like that personally. But like I'll pick a character that's not that good and have a good time with them. Like
Yeah.
I've no issue doing that because I'm playing casual games. I'm not playing ranked. But if I
And
go in
that's
and I play
how it
ranked,
should be.
it's time to play the good characters. That's how I
Right.
see it. Even if I'm playing ranked at low elo, I'm gonna do everything I can to be the best player on my team that I can be before my team.
That's where I'm at with it too. If I'm playing a game and it's competitive, I'm gonna throw on the try hard pants a little bit. You know, my try hard pants might not be very pretty try hard pants, but
But they
I'll
are
put them on
effective.
for you.
They are effective
Yeah,
tryhard pants.
it's slightly effective. And
So, when you look at video games, is having fun more important than winning to you?
I think in some games, having fun and winning can go hand in hand, but in a lot of games, for me personally, at the end of the day, it's a game for me, and I do want to have fun playing a game, whether it's a video game or a board game or hide and go seek. Like I just want to have fun. I don't need to win to have fun. Sometimes it depends. That's a very situational question for me, I think.
Yeah,
How about
and
you?
I mean, I feel like it's a situational question for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it depends on what you're playing. Honestly, Because like I mentioned, like when I play tic-tac-toe, I play to win, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not out here drawing circles for my opponent when I'm playing X's so that they can get their 3 in a row faster or anything like that, you know? Like the goal is to win at tic-tac-toe, whether you like it or not, no matter how casual your game gets. If you're playing against someone else, you want to win, you know? Like that's my mentality, you know? And I
Yeah.
do have fun. I think that when I'm streaming, my only objective is to have fun. That's it.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
like I can't put any emphasis on anything else because if I try to focus only on winning while I'm streaming, my attitude gets worse. And I know that about myself, you know? So as long
I
as I'm
definitely
live, what's up?
yeah, I was just gonna say I definitely get a lot more serious and try harder when I'm not streaming. Like it's a lot more easy to have fun with the game when there's other people that are there cracking jokes and stuff with me.
Yo, it was okay. Like it was actually like super fun for me playing Valorant with Shoria because like watching his streams, I've seen a lot of his streams. I love watching his channel. Like he plays a lot of
Yeah.
Japanese RPGs and stuff like that. And I'm really into that. He was doing a playthrough of Persona 4. I think he's playing Persona 5 now as well. Is what I saw him playing. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. Devin Kronk being a big fan
Oh.
with the Persona sweater, or is that your like mask brand? But
Yeah, it's
still,
the logo.
yeah.
We all know what it is. Come on.
But we were off stream and he was playing Valorant and like things were happening and like just listening to Shoria get like angry about it, I was so excited, you know? Like
Yeah.
there's certain people that like you see them in an environment where they're like always friendly, always happy, always cheery. Like it was so nice for me to just hear him be like, "You got to be kidding me!" Like you know, like getting mad about it, you know? Because I was like, "Yeah," you know, like I
Get mad.
like and maybe this is like a little bit toxic of me, but like I love seeing people get angry. I'm like, yeah, you know, like it hypes me up. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know what it
And
is
you know
about it, but
Shori, like
yeah,
he's no I feel like he even in that moment he's probably not even like actually mad. He is just
yeah,
like he's just pushing it, man. He knows what he knows he wants to win. Like it's cool. Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that.
yeah, definitely. But like,
I don't get that angry, man. Like sometimes in my head, I think the most outburst I'll do is like just kind of I get shot in the head really quick in Valor, and I'm like like
yeah, absolutely. And like for me, the competitive spirit is a lot of what is fun about games for me. I mean, I love winning. I mean, y'all can ask my wife this if you don't believe me, but like one of my favorite experiences in my whole life, okay, is winning in general. Every time I win, it's like a new favorite experience for me. Like I love to win. I have that competitive nature in me. It's ingrained in me. I had an older sibling, so I think that that's a lot of where that comes from.
there it is.
Honestly,
Yeah.
like people ask me if like me and my sister are competitive, and I'm like, yeah, we're 1 year, 2 months, and 12 days apart, but who's counting, right? Like that is the nature of our relationship. We've always had this kind of back and forth with each other, and I mean, I think that's a lot of where my competitive spirit comes from. But I think that I'm having the most fun that I'm having in games when I'm winning. I
Yeah.
think that those two are synonymous for me, honestly. And I'm having significantly less fun when I'm losing, regardless of whether or not I do my best to have a good attitude. You know, like
Yeah.
I am having the most fun that I'm having when I'm winning the game. So I think that for me personally, winning is more important than having fun. Because a lot of the times when I'm losing, like that does impact how much fun I'm having with the game. Playing from behind, and especially in a MOBA, as a League of Legends player, you can speak to this. Playing from behind, it's almost suffocating in a
Yeah, it
MOBA game,
is.
you know?
It's hard to come back in League.
And I mean, I feel like in any MOBA, they're designed like that by nature, you know? Like,
Mhm.
speaking to all of them pretty much except for Heroes of the Storm, you know, it rewards you for getting a lead in the game.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
think that
I
it
mean, it
should.
should, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that more games should be better about doing this, you know? But like, I think that there are ways to go about the like that negativity that you feel, the attitude that you have, you know, like your reaction to the things that are happening without it seriously impacting your attitude. Even though I think that
Yeah.
winning is more important for me, I don't stop having fun just because I want to win. You know? Like when I can tell
Yeah.
that I'm losing a game, the way that I get enjoyment out of it is I start practicing on like my personal mechanics and improving me. I start really focusing in on like honing mechanical skill. When I'm talking about Smite specifically, if it's a game that I can tell I'm losing, I'm like, okay, it's time to practice playing from behind. And I start analyzing everything that's happening on the map. I start making sure I'm being really careful with all of my ability placement, with all of my attacks, with where I'm positioned when we're in team fights, because we're fighting from behind, and the other people are going to be better than us right now. Every single time, as long as you're behind. You know, you are
Right.
at a disadvantage. So it's an opportunity for me to learn more to experience different things myself that I don't typically get to experience, because in casuals, like the casual MMR in Smite is not that good. Like the matchmaking for Smite is really weird. It is very rarely balanced properly. So a lot of games, like typically I have an early lead, you know? Like every now and then I'll go against someone who's just better than me, and that is what it is. You know, that's the nature of online games. People are going to be better. But for the most part, I mean, I'm playing against people that like I can beat out in lane by just being careful and paying a little bit more attention, because it's casuals. Most of the time people are just like, hey, let's have some fun, you know? Screw it. We're going to go out there, we're going to do it big. And they make mistakes.
Convinces all, I'm going to crush you.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I'm here to have fun, and I'm like, and I play my trap card, you know?
Yeah.
And like and so when I start to lose, I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to work on only myself, you know? This game is what it is.
Yeah.
We're probably going to lose this one, you know? Let's tighten up the mechanics and really like hone in on making sure that we're doing everything we can to play properly. And there's always people in the chat who are like, oh, you're not, you know, diving in with us. And I'm like, yeah, that's because diving in was the wrong call there. That's because it was a terrible choice to dive in there, and you shouldn't have taken that fight, you know? And like, I don't always say it back in the chat. Sometimes I do, because I just can't help myself. But like most of the time, I'm just like, I stay quiet. You know, if you don't want to argue, if you want to fight, you argue and fight. I'm working on me right now. You know, this game is realistically over. If I can pull something out of my butthole, then I'll do it. You know, we'll surprise them with a win. But most of the time, we can't. So realistically, I look at it as an opportunity for self-improvement, and that's it. So even when I'm losing, there are things to enjoy there. There's fun to have there.
Yeah, I see it the same way. Normals are just practice matches for the big leagues, you know, going into that competitive queue. But yeah, back to is having fun more important than winning. I completely see where you are coming from, and I agree with it 100%. And I still feel like it's very situational. Like even there, it's like, I don't know. It's a tough question for me, because I really do value having fun in games, and I wouldn't say that I don't have fun when I'm losing. Like, there's still plenty of ways for me to have fun and lose still.
Yeah.
But I think I wouldn't say it's more important to me. I think like I always want to have fun first and foremost, but like winning can definitely like enhance that fun. I just kicked my camera.
Saw that, shook a little bit. That's funny. All right, I was like, oh gosh, earthquake.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think a lot of whether or not your focus is on having fun or winning is based on your skill level in the game, and like where you're at with the gameplay. Because a lot of people who are learning Smite have been coming into my stream. A lot of friends that I've had who are just starting to get into the game because they've seen me come back to playing it, or they played it and they've been away from it for a long time. Shadowfall 22, I think it's Shadow_Fall 22. Like has just gotten started streaming again. He's been playing some Smite. Really awesome guy. Give him a follow if you haven't already. He has started learning the game and like really starting to dive into the characters and find a role that he likes and start, you know, trying to, you know, figure it out because he wants to play it. And it is a fun game, especially when you start figuring it out. But one of the things that I told him was like, don't feel bad about losing, man. You know, you are learning the game. If you are getting destroyed in your lane, just do your best to learn from whatever your enemy's doing that's making them win. You know, your primary goal when you are learning a game like Smite that has so much to learn, or a game like League of Legends or Dota 2. I mean, Dota 2, I understand it's hard to have fun in anyways, but good luck, guys. Like, when you're learning a game that has that high of a skill ceiling and that much just like things that you have to cram into your brain before you fully can comprehend what you need to be doing and what you need to improve on, have some fun, you know? Get in there and just like do your best and lose a few games and learn from it. And just enjoy yourself. Pick characters that you like, that you think look cool, that their abilities sound fun, and figure it out, you know? Just play it by ear and enjoy yourself as you go. Because at that point, there's no point in focusing on sweating when you're that new to a game like that.
Right. Yeah, you got to develop your love for the game first, I think, before you start developing the love for competition that lies within the game.
Yeah.
I think if you focus too hard on the competitive aspect of it, like right off the bat, you're going to burn yourself out. Probably play that game for like a month or two and then get really sick of it because it makes you angry. But I think if you nurture that competitive spirit with the love of the game like at its core, you know, you're gonna have a lot of fun even when you're getting smoked.
Yeah. And I mean, for me personally, there's a few games that I can play, and no matter how the game is going, I'm enjoying it. I mean, Hearthstone is one of those games. I only play Battlegrounds, which is like the auto chess version of Hearthstone, and Arena. So neither of those are tied to how many cards I have personally. Both of those are kind of independent of your personal collection. So I can play those without any consequence or having to spend like hundreds of dollars. But like Hearthstone is one of those games that like even when I'm losing terribly and like the RNG is not going my way and I'm just getting the most unlucky ever, I can look at it and just laugh.
Yeah.
You know? Because like the stuff is funny when it happens. Like when you just get so unbelievably unlucky that nobody could possibly actually be this unlucky, right? You know? Like you can't help but laugh. You know what I mean?
It would never happen to anybody but you, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Like and a lot of that is because of the love that I have for the game. And the other game that really gets me like that is poker.
Oh yeah.
Poker is a game that I love to play, but I'm not like super good at, you know? But I enjoy playing poker so much and I love watching people play poker. And every now and then, you know, you go all in with a hand that you're sure is good, that you're sure is better, you know? And they turn over that last card at the very end on the river. And it gives your opponent a hand that beats you.
Flush.
You know? And you want to be mad about it. You want to hate, you know, but you can't help it because that's the name of the game. It's luck.
Just
It's
RNG,
out of your control.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's completely out of your control.
I'm a poker god, dude. Little known fact.
Oh, like synonymous with being a chess god?
Oh, come on. You didn't have to do me like that. Hey, listen, I beat
I'm giving you a hard
everybody I
time.
played last night, all right?
Let's say we need to do a chess stream.
God.
We need to do a chess stream at some point. Let's say.
Yeah, I'm down. That would be fun.
Chess is definitely one of those things though where like my friends watch me play it and they're like, "You're good at this game," you know? And then we actually see somebody who's good at chess, like people who actually know more than openings, like people who understand like attacks and defenses and like board positioning and all that and like how to close out games quickly, like they will beat me. For sure. I have a mind for strategy. That's all it is.
This is that's an interesting thing to think about too, like meta in chess, bro.
Yeah.
Like that game is like the most meta yet not meta game in existence. Like it is the foundation of meta.
It really is. Honestly. Like I think
Funny
chess
that
is
we kind of
probably
worked into that.
Yeah, chess is probably the origination of that. And I mean, just real quick,
Yeah.
Grub Plays subscribed, and he said, "How are you both?" So thank you so much for the subscription, Grub. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Grub.
If you're still streaming The Witcher 3, I hope you're enjoying it. If not, I hope your stream went well. Grub just did a 10-hour stream. That's Grub Plays with 2 B's. Check him out. He's awesome. But we're doing great, man.
Grub.
We're doing great. Thank you for asking. But as long as chess has been around, I mean, the competitive spirit of chess, the understanding of the meta, what moves are good to make to open up your board, what moves to make after your opponent opens up their board a certain way based on whether or not they move this pawn forward, open up with a knight moving forward. You know, like there's so many different things that you do based on how your opponent plays when you're playing a game of chess.
It's so crazy that game is so old. Like,
yeah,
some guy was like sitting around a table and he was just like, if ye move ye knight over here next to thine pawn,
over hither,
yeah, it's just like this be the meta. Like,
yeah,
I call it the Queen's Gambit. Like, all right, buddy. And they still thought that the sun rotated around the earth. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
Big brain chess players out here.
Yeah, it was that long ago. They still weren't under that impression.
Focus your knowledge somewhere else, please.
I feel like we've talked about this, but have you seen the show Queen's Gambit?
Yeah, dude.
It's so good.
Ooh, it is. It's really good. Even if you're like not into chess, you might want to like play chess after it or not. Like regardless of whether you want to play chess or not, Queen's Gambit's a really excellent show.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, there have been a lot of people who are like, I want to play chess now after watching this.
Yeah,
like,
I think there was like a really big, well, there was kind of a big resurgence of chess, at least on Twitch. Like, I think like towards the beginning of last year, maybe like the middle. But I think it went even further with Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, definitely. Coronavirus getting kind of crazy out here, you know?
Yeah.
Getting people back into chess.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude.
It's crazy to think about.
I can't believe that game. I get it too. Like it's something about it. It just kind of like locks you in. It is like the pinnacle of like strategy and competitiveness. It's everything that we've just discussed, but like in like bare bones.
And I think that one of the most important things about chess is the way that the meta changes based on what your opponent's understanding of the meta is.
Yeah, well,
Because
that's
if
why when you're learning chess, they call it chess theory and not chess knowledge because it all
mhm.
works theoretically, but it depends on like lit any piece that's moved anywhere that's outside of that theory, it's open season, different stuff every time.
And I would even say that chess is almost the perfect metaphor for gaming meta as well. Because
Yeah.
outside of balance changes that developers make, as the meta changes in games, as the best team comp changes in Overwatch or in Valorant or in League of Legends or Smite or anything like that, as that meta changes, there are ways that you can do things to counter that meta. Currently in Smite, a really strong part of the meta is healing characters. So people build a lot of anti-healing items because of that. A lot of anti-healing items have worked their way into many characters' builds as soon as they see a healer get picked on the enemy team, and that is playing to counter the meta. But those anti-healing items wouldn't even get built if healers weren't good, because they're
Right.
worse than the other items except for the anti-healing. You are given value in those items because of the anti-healing. Similar to how when someone makes a certain opening in a chess game, as soon as you see them make that opening, you're like, okay, I have a way where I can close out this opening. And
Yeah,
it's
and
it's a beautiful thing to watch.
chess is actually just like the perfectly balanced game, and it's
Yeah,
never been updated. There's no patch notes, boys. It's
seriously.
it's some I, some old guy just sat. I need to look into. Does anyone know about like the invention of chess? Like who who just sat down and I like? Do you think that they thought that it was as complicated as it is when they made it? Like, or do you think this guy was just like, ah, this piece does this piece does that, and let's just play like
Honestly, I think
little
that they looked over at the guy who made checkers and they were like, look at this casual. Our pieces move
yeah.
different angles. Watch out, boy. Watch out.
So
We're
I'll
coming
check
in.
this out.
Watch me move mine one space forward. We don't only work the diagonals here.
That's right.
We
Watch
mix it
me
up.
move my horse in an L.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that chess and checkers are played on the same board as well.
Yeah.
You know? Like significantly different games, but on the same board. I mean, that's like a completely unrelated side note, but there's a lot of stuff you
The
can do with a chessboard.
checkers come before chess?
I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. That was
I'm gonna
complete
Google that
conjecture.
later.
Please do not take that as truth. Let's say I was literally just hypothesizing there. But whoever it is that invented a game like that had to have some incredible forethought and a great mind for strategy.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Galaxy Brain.
I don't
Probably some
anticipate that they ever expected it to be what it was.
yeah, I don't I mean I feel like that's how most things work out in history. People do something and they don't realize how great it is until they're dead and it's in the history books.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
Kind of somber. Sorry, boys.
just a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Say on that note, let's get out of here now that everybody's
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah.
But I think this has been a really interesting topic to talk about. I love
Yeah, really.
studying the meta in games. Like I said, like my favorite part about games like this and about chess specifically, like I have a mind for strategy. Like I do not have the best aim. I do not have the best reaction time by any stretch of the imagination. That has never been my strong suit. I have always been like strategical. Like
Yeah.
that's been my bread and butter. When we were playing PUBG with my friends, like I was shot calling, you know? Like that was usually what I did for the team. I had a couple of friends that were way better at shooting than me, and typically they would carry team fights whenever that came down to it in PUBG. But like,
This man shot calls in Valorant, okay? He's still shot calling to this day. He never lost his edge.
and that's what I'm talking about because that's what I'm good
Yeah.
at. Like my aim is decent in Valorant, but like that's where I do my best, I think, is when I look at something and I break it down and I'm like, okay, this is the best play here. We got a couple of plays we can make. This one will probably work most of the time. And then we do it. And that's it. You
Yeah.
know? Like and I love that. And I think that meta, like, and understanding the meta is that just boiled down to a science. It's taking things and being like, this is the strategy that you need to understand in order to win the most times that you possibly could. You run 1,000 scenarios and 70% of those scenarios, this works better.
Right.
So you do it because mathematically that makes sense. And I like it.
Yep. Yeah, meta's cool, man. I I don't I'll never have a problem with meta as long as it's not harming anything like in the WoW scenario and stuff.
Yeah.
That's my only issue with meta. Otherwise, like it gives me structure, it gives me a better chance to win, and it sometimes it provides the most fun because sometimes fun equals winning or winning equals fun. Like it's it's meta very pog.
Yeah. And even as someone competitive as me, like there are times where I pick things that are off meta, you know?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I just recently put in a channel point redemption into my channel where people can pick what character I play in the role that I'm playing. And right now it specifies that it's role appropriate. I do ask that, but I'm considering putting one in there that's, like, hey, pick whatever character for me to
Wild
play in this
card.
role. Yeah, just make it
Yeah.
crazy, but that one's going to be expensive. But like I'm willing to do things, just to have some fun with it, play something different, let people see something specifically that they're looking to see, that sort of thing. But like for the most part, my goal when I'm playing games that are multiplayer games where there is a winner and a loser is to be the winner, and
Yeah.
whatever that costs, I want to do it. So typically I adhere to the meta, I follow the meta, I respect the meta. I understand that some things are better for a reason, and balance patches and things like that can change that, but at the end of the day, there is usually a better way. I strongly
07
agree though.
meta.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh 07. The only thing
We
is though,
respect you.
like you mentioned World of Warcraft again. It's so toxic in a game like that. That's a PvE game, you know?
And so like socially like I don't know, like I've always thought of WoW as just like a game with fun mechanics, and you're in this really cool fantasy world with really cool powers, and you just get to meet other people. Like it's an MMO, you're the social aspect of that is very important, and for them to like ostracize parts of the community for not pulling good enough stats, like it's just, and it's not even the people's fault, like their class has just been stiffed in updates, like
Yeah.
it real feels bad, man.
Yeah, and I would say that 10 out of 10 times, having someone in World of Warcraft who understands their character and knows how to play it well is better than someone who's playing a meta character that they don't understand how to play well. You know?
Yeah.
And most of the time they won't even give people that chance. Just because the statistics and streamers say so. And that
Like
sucks.
Grinth and his feral druid, he's out
Yeah.
here killing it.
Yeah,
Might not be statistically the best, right?
he actually switched to marksmanship hunter because it's just so much easier.
Oh.
And now he gets invited to groups like crazy. So at some point I think
Because
you
he's a
have
good
to.
player.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good
Yeah.
player. Yeah, he's definitely potentially the best WoW player I know personally. Like him and his brother are really close. They're both really good, like insanely
Yeah.
good at that game. Um, and I think that as long as you're not, being disrespectful to other people or harming other people with your actions or your words, I think that there's nothing wrong with following a meta. But when it gets to a point where you're keeping people from having fun and enjoying a video game that is for fun, or you reach a point where you yourself can no longer have fun, then you've gone too far.
Cut it off.
Yeah.
Positivity is the new meta, boys.
Positivity is the new meta. We need to put that on a shirt for sure.
Yeah,
Most
dude.
definitely. Most
First
definitely.
gaming tonic t-shirt.
Dude. Oh, okay. You might be onto something right now. You might actually be onto something. I like that a lot.
Listen,
I'd be very
we'll
down
put
for that.
something together.
Yeah, we might be coming out with some gaming tonic t-shirts soon. Shoria, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub as well, man. Want to shout that out.
Thank you, Shoria.
Thank you. Happy podcast day. It's awesome to have you here as always, Shoria. We appreciate you. We gave you a couple
Happy
of shout outs
podcast
earlier
day, buddy.
about how much we've been enjoying playing Valorant with you and stuff like that. So next week, I feel like this kind of, yes, much love. This kind of segues, our topic this week kind of segues into next week's topic. If I'm not incorrect, we're talking about esports.
Yes.
So for anybody who has any interest in esports, we're going to be discussing that next week. There's quite a bit of stuff going on in the esports world for me personally right now, as it is the Smite World Championships. There's always Smash tournaments going on. I swear there's a major Counter-Strike tournament every single weekend. Like, I don't know when the League of Legends World Championship and stuff like that is, but yeah, like
I think that's
there's
like
always
November.
stuff going on.
We got.
So it just passed.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of today's topics might bleed into next week's topics because meta is a big part of esports, but it'll be its entire own thing, focused more on like the professional scene of video games.
Yeah. And we are also very excited to announce that we got our first guest of 2021 locked in. So let me double check my calendar real quick, just to make sure. It's going to be on the 23rd. We're going to have Spicy Doom coming back on the show to be a guest for the show. So we are very excited to have him here. We all love Spicy Doom a lot. Great streamer, great guy. He's been on the show before. We don't have a topic nailed down for that week yet, but we will have it by next week. So hopefully you are all looking forward to that. For anybody who is interested in getting in on our socials, for anybody who wants to know where they can find you, Devin Kronk, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitch with the name below, twitch.tv/Devin Kronk, or with that Twitter handle down there. It's just Devin Kronk, but with 2 Ks. And then through my Twitch or Twitter, you can find all my other links. I have a link tree on my Twitter, and I have like Discord, YouTube, all that other stuff linked on my Twitch. So that's where you can find me. How about you, Vince?
For anybody who's curious about where they can find me, you can catch me at twitch.tv/justvince, where we host the podcast every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Also on Twitter at Vince0094. And I do have a TikTok as well now. It's Twitch Just Vince is the TikTok. If you want to check out some of my TikTok content, it is decent, and that's all I'll say about it.
There's some bangers on there. I've seen it.
There's a couple.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
I got my pentakill up on there, so that's pretty exciting stuff. Finally got one of those last week. That was big hype. Also, for anybody who is interested in being on the show, we do include a link to our application on our YouTube videos. There is also a command for it in my chat. Just type !GT app in my chat at any time if you want to get in on that. If you want to be on the show, if you're interested in being part of this, you like our content, you want to join us, we'd love to have you. All you need is a working mic and a working webcam, and you're good to go. Or work with you to get it all set up, and we'd love to have you on here.
Cool.
And then also, one thing that we didn't mention last week that I want to get back to mentioning. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, feedback, you want to send us messages, you want to give us a topic to talk about, you want us to have discussion about something that you pick because you want to do our job for us, that's just fine. Send us an email at gamingtonic1@gmail.com. If you just want to send us love letters, send us love letters. That's perfectly fine. We love that. We'd love to hear from you guys.
You would have to, my girlfriend, you're not allowed to send me love letters. Unless you're male.
Wait, what?
Only males can send me love letters.
Oh, right. Okay, of course. Yeah, sorry. I'm married. Yeah. Homies.
And Vince.
Yeah, please. Obviously not actual love letters. I guess I didn't think I needed to specify that, but still. Erica in the chat said, let me take over a podcast and talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons. Like, if y'all want to do an Animal Crossing episode, like, that's totally fine. We can have Erica on here one week.
That would be hilarious.
There is nothing wrong with, like having other people on. If that's something y'all are interested in, email us, tweet at us, anything like that. You can catch our Gaming Tonic Twitter at Gaming Tonic Pod as well. So be sure to give that a follow for updates on the podcast, what's going on with us, any content that we're interested in. We'd love to have you there.
Cool.
All right.
We're good to go.
We're good to go? All right. I think that's covered everything. We got all the orders of business. We announced our topic for next week and our new guest. Hopefully all of you have enjoyed the show today. We are excited. It's 2021. We're ready to keep pumping out this content. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Devin, as always, it has been an absolute pleasure.
It was a pleasure, my friend.
I checked on Twitch. It looks like we have one person live right now, so we're going to go ahead and give them a host. Someone that I follow is It's Chunty. Awesome guy. Go ahead and show him some love in his chat. He's playing some Smite right now, and we like Smite here. So be sure to give him a shout out from us. And that is going to be it for this week. Hope you all enjoyed it, and take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your Saturday.